I'm Wade from Thoroughbred Diesel, and today we're going to be installing BD's variable vane exhaust brake for the 6.7 Fords. BD makes an electronic variable vane exhaust brake for a few different model trucks out there. The one that we're going to concentrate on today is a 2013 Ford with a 6.7 Scorpion motor in it. This part number at the time of this filming is 2001102, and this fits the 2011 to 2014 Ford 6.7 liter trucks. Really neat thing about this, first off, is you're going to get that exhaust braking capability with just an electronic module, not having to hack up your exhaust or doing any welding or anything like that. This is an all plug and play module, no cutting and splicing of the wires. You get either the functionality with this of just the variable vane braking, or BD integrated into their computer board to be able to have shifting strategies changing, as well as the variable vane braking of that with the BD module there. So easy install, no cutting of wires, all plug and play. Going to take a little bit of time, but we're going to show you how to get through that right now. Now, first thing I want to show you is the BD wiring harness for this entire module. It can be separated into two different parts, inside the cab and underneath of the hood. There's a little wire, a white wire connector here at the time of this filming again. And what you want to do first off, before you even get started, is go ahead and separate the two here. So just go ahead and hit this trip. On the harness, and what you've got there is that's going to separate it into two different sections again, under the hood and inside the cab. So you're inside the cab portion of this harness, and I've already got everything in a tangled up mess. The inside the cab portion of this harness is actually going to have the box that goes with it. Wade, why in the world did you do that? I know better than that. So your inside the cab portion of the installation is going to have the electronic box itself, the OBD2 ports. Underneath of the hood portion is going to have all wiring loops. So separate those two parts out, and that's how we're going to break up the video today. We're going to do inside the cab, and then we're going to do outside the cab. So let's get started with our inside the cab portion of this installation. First thing to do inside the cab, again, the portion with the control box is what goes inside of the cab. OBD2 ports on the wiring harness as well. First thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this lower kick panel. We're going to remove the lower kick panel so we can get access to getting all the wiring harness out. We have a portion of this wiring harness that's going to go into this steering column. That's actually going to be your shifting strategy or your shifting functionality for this module, and then we'll also be mounting the button to where you can select the different modes of this. So first thing you do for the kick panel is you just want to go ahead and pull this out. So what I like to do is I like to start at the lower right hand side of this, and I just start on this right hand side and I just pull it directly out. Same thing on this side. Just keep working your way around. We've got a tuning switch in here, so we want to be cognizant of that. There's our panel out of the way. Next, and what I want to do is I just want to show you on our steering column. So we'll be going inside of the steering column. On the steering column, underneath of here, there are 3 bolts holding the steering column. 2 halves on here, here, and here. These are 5.5 metrics, which is an oddball size. You may not have that in your box. If not, run out and get it, or use the standard size. It's going to get you the closest. So now we're going to go ahead and loosen up those 3 bolts. So we've got our 3 5.5 metric bolts out of the bottom of the steering column. We're going to go ahead and separate the upper half of the steering column right here. So just what you do is just grab it and grab, basically. Pull up on it. And then once you are free, you just want to go ahead, and you don't have to take it completely out, but all you're doing is looking for access to, I'll try to get some light on that, access to that electronic plug right there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take my wiring harness and I'm going to fish this down through here. And what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to get everything in position where I know I need to be there. I know my OBD2 ports are going to need to be on this side of the truck, so I'm going to fish those down through just like that. All right. Then I know that this is probably this white connector right here. This is going to join up with the other connector coming outside of the truck, and I'm going to load that through there. And then my next connector. I'm sorry, I did that completely wrong. That's actually right. That's my next connector for the thing. Then this connector will actually be going through here. This is for our kick panel switch, so it can actually lay out just like this. And then this is for our steering column, the black pigtail or piggyback. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push that up through the column just like this, real easy. And I'm going to bring it up through there, making sure that I've got everything where it tucks in there. See, again, we're after this connector right here. All right, so I've got the BD wiring harness through, so I'm going to let Adam jump in there with the assist for us, and we're going to disconnect this harness underneath of the column. We're going to take the female end, and we are going to hook it into the harness end, or the male, just like that. I'll move my hands for you. And then the male from the BD end goes into the female connector on the truck side. All right. And we will pull those wires to where they are not interfering with anything there. And we can get our column back down. So that's what we're going to do now. Is we're going to bring our column back down real easy. Make sure that we get our shift boot line back up correctly in here. Like that. This is one of those things that you're not going to get it right the first, I don't know, 50 times you do it. So we'll just keep pushing at it and making sure that we get everything lined up. The shift boot for the actual shifter itself, you feel around it and you'll see that it lays in this channel for the halves here. And it's one of those things where you just got to kind of hold your mouth right to get it. There we go. And then you've got to take what you've got as you go. So the back side of that hooks, and then the front side of it clips. So you got to have the back side hooked and the front side will kind of fall into clip there. Now we put our 3 5.5 metric bolts, and I'll roll out of here, get out of Adam's way, and we will reinstall our 5.5 metric bolts. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to move our OBD2 plug. So we're going to just take a 7 metric nut driver and we're going to unbolt or unscrew the stock OBD2 plug, 2 of them on here, and just stay right there because it's not going to take you long to do this step. All right, take your stock plug, plug the red portion of the BD brake into this, and then the rest of this pass through will go right back there. So BD gives you enough cord to be able to accomplish this. So now let's take our 2 7 metric bolts. And we'll put those back in and tighten them up. So I just took a flat edge of a bastard file here and just made myself enough of a channel in that to be able to get my switch in securely. So push her on in. There, you got yourself a little smooth installation there. We are going to hook up our switch wire for this now, and this will be on the outside of the kick panel. So we'll just go ahead and bring our white wire connector to that and go ahead and install that. So now really we're at the point to where we need to go ahead and start zip tying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my control module, I'm going to zip tie it up in here out of the way of everything and get it in there, and then take the rest of my wiring, go ahead and push it through. Now this is the junction to the outside connector. Just make sure that you've got that going through here where you can gain access to it. So we're going to take a break, guys, and we're going to go ahead and zip tie everything and clean it all up and then get our kick panel back on. I wanted to say something about this because this is just attention to detail that I always like to see in this from manufacturers. But BD sends you a sticker to put on your panel for to show you that it's an exhaust brake that's in that position. So I'm just going to make sure that I install that here on this panel, clean it up real good, make sure that you have got it centered there, which I probably don't. There we go. Now you can hook your switch up and put your switch in there, and boom, everybody can look at that and say, hey, this is an exhaust brake. Just want to talk about on the interior. I want to talk about the interior for just a second here. What I did was my last connection here, which brings our two harnesses together, I left this loose. I didn't pass this through the firewall just yet because I want to make sure that however I decide to do my routing underneath the hood, whatever makes it the cleanest, that's what I'm going to do. So if I've got more room to bring it in here, I will. So I didn't go ahead and push that through the firewall. I just left it right there where it was at, try to make the connection in here if I have to, but I left myself an out there. So we're ready to start underneath the hood. All right, to start out our under the hood portion of it, I'm going to start on the farthest connection away from going back inside the cab. So I'm going to walk through all of the connections on this wiring harness with you. First off, this is the connection that connects us back to the in-cab portion. It's got a white connector on it. Next is going to be your mass airflow connector. This is kind of a piggyback connector there. So you've got that. You've got a ground ring terminal that's already on. Then you have the turbo solenoid connection, which are these two here. And then you've got a positive ring terminal connection. So that's all we've got here. So again, I'm going to start out with my mass airflow sensor because it's the farthest away, and then I'll just work with my routing from there. So everybody knows where their mass airflow sensor is. Go to your air box, your mass airflow sensor, pop the red locking tab off just like that, slide it out, unhook the connector, and then male to female. You want to make sure that you push this until it clicks, then slide your locking tab back in, and then this connector at the box, slide that locking tab back in. And this locking tab did not click because I didn't have it up far enough. There we go. All right, guys, now it's time to take the plastic intake off of our 6.7 liter. A couple tools I suggest you have. These are all 8 metric bolts. So there's 15 bolts and there's 1 bolt on the side over here that holds the dipsticks on. I suggest for you to have 1/4 inch drive, 8 metric on a swivel. This will allow you to get back behind here where these bolts are and get the few that are back there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So there's 15 of these bolts that hold this thing down, and then the 1 on the side. So the first step that we have to do is we have to disconnect the mass airflow sensor, or the MAP sensor, I'm sorry. So we disconnect our MAP sensor, and then we have to get the wiring harness out of the plenum as well. So there's a small tool there. Go ahead and get that out. Of course, that was brittle and that broke on us, so hopefully that's not going to be the way the rest of this goes. Then you have one on your coolant pipe here. That is right underneath, so we're gonna pop this push pin out too. So we got our coolant pipe out of there. Now we go after these 15 top bolts, but before we can do that, I'm gonna let Adam climb down here and I'm gonna take you over and show you where the bolt is on the transmission dipstick that you have to get out here. Cue Adam and the moving shot. This is what we call here in the movie industry the dynamic shot. There is an 8 metric bolt right here for the dipstick that has to be removed. This is where your little swivel attachment will come in handy. And I can get past the camera here. We'll go ahead and remove this. And then next, it's just a matter of getting the other 15 bolts out as you go. So just go through the intake, keep pulling bolts out of it till the intake comes off. Inside of BD's instructions, there is a nice little map of where all of these bolts are. That'll kind of help you if you've got any questions. All right, getting the plenum out, we want to say a couple of words about this. We'll try to do this without hitting the light. Getting the plenum out it's first time that you've done it. I took for granted when we opened up on this that there's a good chance that you guys that are installing this, you haven't done this before. Getting the plenum out can be a little bit frustrating, but you have to understand a couple of things that'll make it a whole lot easier for you. First off, 2 different size bolts that you've got in here of the 15. There's short bolts, and the short bolts go in the low standards like this, and the tall bolts go in the 2 back standards going into the intakes here and here, and then the back ones here and here. Now, on your driver's side of the plenum, this back bolt actually won't come out because of the cowl. There's no sense in digging it through the cowl, just leaving it in there. It'll, as long as you watch it coming out, it will come right past. You have plastic connectors for your wiring harnesses. There's one right here that you have to pop out when you get ready to bring it out. You have another one on the wastegate that comes out. And when you go to rotate the plenum out, you want to pull it from the passenger side and pull it to you. There's 2 bolts that have to come out of this. There's a coolant standpipe bolt, a small bolt, an 8 metric that has to come out right there. There's also the EGR bolt. I'll move that out of your way, Adam. The EGR bolt right there. The head of that bolt right there, the plenum won't come past it. So take it out and then take this bolt out for the standpipe, and then this gives you enough flexibility of the standpipe to be able to get the plenum out and get it out of your way. So just wanted to talk about that now. Now we'll show you your connection. A lot of work to get to this connection, but it is what it is. So the solenoid on the back of the turbo here, there's a heat shield around it, just like that right there. And right here is your connector. So you just want to pry those ears up of the connector each side and pop it out there. I like to use a pick to get the ears out and then get the connector also. When we go over and get my pick, we'll be right back. Okay, showing you the solenoid connector now. There's 2 ears on that. It's pretty difficult to get to back in there, but just keep working at it. Eventually you'll get it. You want to take this heat shield off of the truck side connector and just go ahead and move it over to the BD harness. So you want to go ahead and put it on the BD male side of the harness here and go ahead and run that through. Move this connector out of the way. Now you want the male BD harness to go to the solenoid. Be really careful what you're doing here. Don't bend pins. The connector only goes in one way. clicks both sides. All right, then go ahead and slide your heat shield back over the solenoid itself. Then you have the harness side. Before I fall off this topside creeper, you want to take your female side from the harness, or your male side from the harness, I apologize. Take it under this coolant pipe here, just makes it a little cleaner, and hook the BD side back in. So once you've got that done, go ahead and bring your harness out. And I like to just kind of lay it out where I'm going and look at the way the lines are laying and just try to get ahead of the game here. I'm going to lay that back over here. And guess what? It is now time to put our intake plenum back on. So what we've done is we've laid our wiring harness over here that's going inside of the cab, and we will go ahead and push that through the grommet here in just a second. But on this side of the wiring harness, we've got a ground terminal that needs to be connected. So what we're going to do is go ahead and take an 8 metric, and we're going to loosen up the nut that's on this side. All right, now we move back to the passenger side of the truck, and we're going to attach our positive wire over here. All right, we're ready to put our wiring harness in through the cab. The grommet between your fuse panel right here and your steering hydro boost, I just use that grommet right there. I've already got a hole in the thing, in the grommet for the wiring harness, so we'll just shove our wiring harness through. Then we'll come through on our truck side of this, and we'll go ahead and zip tie all this up and clean everything up out here. Got one connection left, guys, so here is our female connector that we did on our inside, and then the male that we just pushed through. We're gonna go ahead and snap those two together, and we are good to go after this. So once this is done, apologize. Once that's done, we will go ahead and zip tie up everything out here in the cab. We got our, under the hood, we got a zip tie, and then we'll do a little ride along, show you how it functions. So first impression of the BD variable vane brake, this thing works really, really nice. I really like it. It's gonna be awesome towing. We don't have time to grab a trailer today to check it. But first position, when you hit the first position on the switch, the variable vanes, you can definitely tell the difference in how it stops the trucks. When the vanes kick in there, it does a good job. I mean, I'm running 40 mile an hour right now. I take my foot off the throttle. 50 mile an hour, I mean, you can see once it kicks in, it really slows the truck down well. The second option on this, when you hit it again, second light lights up, the vanes are working as well. But the neat thing is when you go and you actually tap your brakes, tow haul automatically comes on, so that you're getting the variable vanes and the turbo are working, plus the transmission is working to slow you down there. You go back to the accelerator, tow haul goes off. You come off the throttle, the vanes kick in, slow the truck down, you hit the brakes, tow haul goes on automatically. It does a really, really good job. This is a nice thing. So you guys have got 6-7 trucks, you do a lot of towing, definitely suggest this module for you. So I'm Wade from Thoroughbred Diesel. Like and subscribe to our channel. If you got a question about this installation or any of our other